Part 2. The Invisible Enemy. The disease was no longer confined to soldiers. It was now in the streets, in homes, in schools. People would wake up in the morning feeling fine. But by nightfall, they were burning with fever or gasping for air. Some waved goodbye to their neighbors on the way to work, only to return and find out those neighbors were gone. Imagine that. A disease spreading so fast that no one could understand what was happening. And the worst part? Even doctors were helpless. Because this virus, just like the flu viruses we know today, kept mutating, changing, evolving. So what cured one person didn't work for another. People wore masks, avoided public transport, schools closed down. Governments placed ads in newspapers saying, "If you cough, stay home." But back then, there was no internet, no television. Information traveled slowly, and rumors, urban legends, spread faster than the truth. Some thought the disease came from poisonous gas. Others believed it was Germany's secret biological weapon. Fear spread like the virus itself, everywhere. Silent cities. Once crowded cities had turned into ghost towns. Shops were closed, schools, churches, theaters, all silent. There were so many deaths that in some places even coffins ran out. Families had to bury their loved ones in their own backyards. New York, London, Paris all faced the same scene. People looked out from their windows, watching masked nurses carrying stretchers down empty streets. And in that moment, humanity realized they were fighting an enemy they could not see. No guns, no cannons, no armies. This time, the enemy was invisible, and everyone was on their own. Science's silent battle. In those days, even the word virus was unfamiliar. Microscopes weren't powerful enough to see something that small. Doctors could only observe the symptoms: high fever, bluish lips, coughing blood, and the feeling of drowning. Some believed bacteria were to blame, but there were no antibiotics that were in no time. Hospitals overflowed, nurses worked 20-hour shifts. No one could go home, because if they did, they might bring the invisible killer back to their families. When doctors realized they couldn't save their patients, many simply held their hands and prayed. Because sometimes healing wasn't possible. The only thing left was to make sure people didn't die alone. The world's heart stops. Imagine this. Within just a few weeks, 1/3 of the world's population fell ill. Schools closed, factories stopped, military shipments halted. Many countries were still at war, but their greatest enemy wasn't across the battlefield anymore. It was the virus right under their noses. From Australia to Canada, India to Brazil, everyone faced the same nightmare. Entire villages vanished with no one left to help. Train stations fell silent. Newspapers printed daily lists of the dead. People grew afraid of each other. Shaking hands, hugging, even talking became risks. The world was holding its breath. The sun rises again. By the summer of 1919, death rates began to drop. No one knew exactly why. Maybe the virus had mutated and weakened. Maybe everyone who could get sick already had. But one day came and people never forgot it. The streets filled up again. Children went out to play. Church bells rang. People embraced each other, trembling but hopeful. Because this time, it was really over. Rebirth? The Roaring Twenties. When the pandemic ended, the world was no longer the same. People learned to live again and to celebrate life. In America, jazz music exploded. Cities lit up once more. Women joined the workforce in greater numbers. Science advanced rapidly. And perhaps most importantly, humanity had learned that invisible enemies were real. Scientists began pushing the limits of the microscope, trying to understand viruses. Because everyone knew. This wasn't just an end, but it was a beginning. A new era was dawning, yet filled with electricity, music, hope, and rebirth. Final words. The Spanish flu claimed more than 50 million lives in just 2 years. but it also revealed the resilience of humankind. Every pandemic we face today still carries echoes of that time. The masks, the quarantines, the distancing, all of them are lessons left behind. And history whispers quietly, never underestimate the invisible enemy. But don't fear it either. Learn, remember, and move forward.